So Bernie Sanders gave a speech last night at the DNC, and needless to say, it was jam-packed with policy substance. And he made a very detailed case and a very nuanced case as to why he supports Hillary Clinton over Donald Trump. Now, I know a lot of people are angry about that, but my suspicion is that Bernie Sanders, behind closed doors and in his heart of hearts, his argument really only goes as far as to say Hillary Clinton is the lesser of two evils. Now, I have no evidence of that, but I'm pretty sure that's true. So, in other words, if he was being 100% honest, he would go out there in a speech and say, Hillary Clinton has made countless horrific decisions. Let's not kid ourselves. She's centrist at best, more likely center-right. She's far too hawkish. She's far too willing to do the bidding of the big banks. But she's not a crazy person. And the choice in this election is no change or active change in the wrong direction. That's what I guess he would say. And again, my summation of what he says isn't sufficient. So you should go, if you haven't seen his speech, go listen to his whole speech and just hear him out, hear him make his case. He's Bernie Sanders. I think he earned at least that for you. If you're mad at him, if you think he's a sellout, for you to listen and see what he has to say. So you guys know I'm not voting for Hillary Clinton. I live in the state of New York. No matter what I do in the state of New York, it's the general election. My state is going to go to Hillary Clinton, so I am going to vote for Jill Stein. I'm not giving anybody advice. You can do whatever the fuck you want. But as I've said before, what I would do across the country is safe state, Jill Stein, not safe state, cry, vomit, shit myself, and vote Hillary Clinton while regretting it for the next rest of my life. So just, some of the things he argued, hey, climate change, man. Hillary Clinton believes in climate change. Yes, she sold fracking. He didn't say this in the speech, but yeah, she sold fracking all around the world as Secretary of State. So for her to believe in it, okay, well then why did you act to kind of further it in that respect? But his argument is he thinks that climate change is a Chinese hoax. He's guaranteeing he won't do anything about it. He says he'll rip up the Paris Agreement on day one. That is inexcusable. And that is worse. You could say Hillary's bad on the issue, but she acknowledges there is an issue, whereas he's saying, I will actively move in the wrong direction. So that's one of his arguments. He brought up the basic point, which is just absolutely true, of he's a bigot. He wants to ban all Muslims from the country. He wants to kick out all undocumented immigrants. That's fucking crazy. That's crazy. He didn't bring it up, but, we've discussed it before. Some of Trump's comments on defaulting on the debt scare the shit out of me because it shows that he wants to run the country like he ran his businesses. But when he ran his businesses, at least 4 of them went bankrupt, and he did the old Mitt Romney trick. Oh, I will take the company into bankruptcy, I'll run out the back door with all the money, and everybody else will get fucked. So he's saying, I'll just make a deal. I'll make a deal on our debt. I'll just make a deal. So you want to default on U.S. debt? That would cause a worldwide depression. That's insane. You can't do that. And then, again, he didn't say this, but he said similar things. Dude, he just doesn't know anything. Like, you're voting for a toddler. So he doesn't know the difference between Hamas and Hezbollah. This guy's running for president. Now, if you don't know the difference, that's fine. You're not running for president. He's running for president. He didn't know the difference between Hamas and Hezbollah. He didn't know the difference between the Kurds and the Quds Force. That's not, if you're running for president, that's not a thing. You can't do that. That's not acceptable. So I think if Bernie was being honest, he would have just said lesser of two evils. And then, the Democratic establishment, the Democratic Party would have been super pissed at him. But I think his base would have been more accepting. And they would have been like, okay, I get why he's doing it. But now there are some people in his base who are saying, you sold us out, Bernie. I do not agree with that. And to me, the most important point about his speech yesterday, and the main thing that I was thinking after the fact, is, guys, the political revolution, which is what Bernie talks about, it really and truly was never about one individual person, because we are not like those goofballs on the right who have their dear leader and they fall in line and they say, as long as my authoritarian is in control, I feel great. That's not how we function. We're more rational than that. This isn't like, the animal kingdom and the alpha male gets to lead and everybody goes, oh, I am subservient to you. No. The way it works for sane people on the left who care about the American people and care about policy substance is, oh, even if Bernie were to have won and gotten elected, you think we shouldn't still be out there in the streets protesting for certain things? You think we could just give up and not continue to be activists and continue to be teachers and continue to be educators and continue to spread the message about the kind of change that we need in the country? Even Bernie would tell you, even if I am elected, it ain't over. You guys still got to put pressure on me. You got to put pressure on everybody in Congress. You got to let them know certain things aren't debatable, and we're not stopping until we get the fucking answer, until we get the right policy. So this is the most important point, is that you have to get involved. You have to get involved, because there are a lot of people out there who are inspired by Bernie Sanders. And I know, again, some people are mad as to what happened recently. But there were a lot of people who are inspired by Bernie Sanders, and what I would say to them is, you can be the next Bernie Sanders. Not somebody else, not somebody like you. You can be the next Bernie Sanders. And even if you're somebody who says, I think Bernie sold out, okay, then you get the fuck out there and you expand on the good parts of his legacy, and you get to a point where you would be in a position where you don't sell out if you really think that's what he did. So, all these armchair pontificators and these butthurt people, like, I get it. I'm super upset he didn't win too, and Hillary Clinton is probably the worst Democratic candidate you could have ever picked. But it ain't over. This isn't over. So you have to, if you care about this political revolution, if you care about making America a better place for the future, okay, well, run for office. What the fuck are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? Like I said, you can be the next Bernie Sanders. You can be better than Bernie Sanders. You could be more principled. You could be more aggressive. You can get more accomplished than Bernie Sanders. But you have to do it. You're the fucking master of your own destiny. Nobody's fucking... Like, this idea of, like, oh my God, people, I can't do it because of fucking reasons X. I got to go to the dry cleaners, and I got to pick my kid up from school, and I got so much going on. I work in the human resources department at bullshit Corporation X. I don't give a fuck. What, are you going to sit there and complain, or are you going to go fucking do something? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? You. Not, other people should do this and that. Bitch, you could be part of other people. Why are you putting it on other people? You got legs. You got arms. You got a fucking brain. Go do something. Go do something. Run for office. Become an activist. Become a teacher. Get involved in politics in any way. Run a campaign. Like, I hope that people who watch this show, if you could take anything away from this show, I hope it's proper framing and marketing and strategy if you're an actual progressive. Get involved, man. Run a campaign. Start low. Work your way up. If you fight and if you work hard, it's possible. I know this sounds so goofy and so cheesy, and it feels ridiculous even saying it, but it's true. In however many years it is before you're on your deathbed, it's going to happen with all of us at some point. We're all going to die at some point. You're on your deathbed. Do you want to look back and say, I fucking did something? I did something with my life. I dedicated my life to making the lives of other people better. If that's the place you're in when you're on your deathbed, you could actually die with a smile on your face. I did what I could while I was here. I busted ass. Did everything I could. Tried to make lives better. Now, on the flip side, if you don't actually take action and try to change things, try to make the country better, you'll lay on your deathbed and probably the main word going through your head will be, fuck! I didn't fucking do it. So, do you want to have that regret? Probably not. Nobody wants to have that regret. So, it's funny because when people act like it's over, it's like, that's probably the single most irrational position I've ever heard from anybody ever, and that includes the dumbass Republicans. Like, it's over. Bernie didn't win. Nah. Okay, you do realize that we still don't have single-payer health care, right? We don't have that. Every other modern nation has one form or another of single-payer health care. Either public funding of public institutions or public funding of private institutions or a mix of systems. We don't have single-payer health care. We don't have Medicare for all. And your punk ass is going to sit around and complain? Well, there is so much work to do on that front. Why can't you be the one to actually get it done? Okay, we live in a country that still doesn't have free college. So many modern nations have free college. Why don't you get involved? Fight to get that done, man. We can do that. We can fight. We can get something done. We live in a country, there's interventions going on in fucking 7 different countries right now. We're at war in Iraq. We're at war in Afghanistan. I mean, there's drone strikes and airstrikes in Pakistan, Yemen, and Somalia. I mean, Syria. Is this where you want your country to be? Now, we all get it. ISIS is horrific. ISIS is terrible. Should it be only the job of the U.S. to be doing airstrikes and be spending over 50% of our discretionary budget on the military? Is that the country you want to live in? When we know, the data shows, hey, you've been doing the war on terror for well over a decade. And guess what? Terrorism has gotten worse under your watch. At a certain point, you just got to go, you know what? This ain't fucking working. So don't you want to be involved in taking the fight to the military-industrial complex and the politicians and the elites and saying, that's it, done. All this stupid money you're wasting over there. Meanwhile, we can't even get clean water in Flint, Michigan. And you're wasting this shit over there? Are you fucking crazy? Are you crazy? Our infrastructure gets a grade of D from the Civil Society of Engineers in their report that they release every few years. Guys, there's so much work to do. There's so much work to do. And of course, the biggest fight of all is clean elections. There's a million ways you can fight this problem. And there's a million groups working on it. Move to Amend is one. Represent.us is another. Wolfpack is another. So these are all different attempts through different avenues to get money out of the political system and make it so that we fund the politicians so the politicians represent us, as opposed to wealthy private donors and corporations funding the politicians, and then the politicians represent them and ignore and snub us. This is why a study showed that we're an oligarchy, that the politicians represent the corporations. Guys, why the fuck do you think it is that you can vote for people in an election, and then a month later you go to the opinion polls, and that same fucking group of jackasses you just voted for has a 9% approval rating? That's not a thing. That doesn't happen. That doesn't happen. Hey, I want that. Oh, no, I fucking despise that. Because everybody knows. Everybody knows that they're all fucking corrupt and they're all bought. So we can fight to change that. We can make a difference. Get involved with Wolfpack. Get involved with Move to Amend. Get involved with Represent.us. They need foot soldiers. You know, Wolfpack has won in at least 4 states. I think 5 states already. We've gotten it passed that certain states are for a constitutional amendment and they're ready to do a constitutional convention. It's pending in so many other states. Get fucking involved. Get involved. What are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? You want to fucking sit around all day and complain, Bernie Sanders didn't win, and now it's just fucking over, and what are we going to do? The fight is never over. Even if Bernie Sanders won, you still have to fucking fight. There was a Democratic president, a supposedly liberal president in office, Lyndon Johnson. Did MLK and the civil rights workers go, all right, that's it, let's go to Denny's? No, they said, oh, we're going to fucking march in the streets, bitch. We're going to be even more in your face now. Yes, we're going to force you to do the policies that are correct. That's what we're going to do. So, there's no question here. Where's the fucking question? Everybody all upset like it's over. Look, I'm upset Bernie didn't win too. But even if he won, well, our job is still the same. You got to get involved. You got to be an activist. You got to run for office. You got to educate people. You have to spread the message. We can make the United States a better country. We can make this country a social democracy. Right now, we have a system that privatizes the profits and socializes the losses. Look at what happened in the 2008 Great Recession. So what we need is a country that is socialized in all the good ways. Healthcare, education, things like that. And private, I'm not against capitalism. You can have remnants of capitalism. I like a hybrid system. That's what social democracy is. Some things just do better in a private system. Obviously, you want your video games made in a private system. The government sucks at those. The government can't make cars for dick. So I'm not anti-capitalist, but you have to have a sane system where you mix socialism and capitalism, because the most modern countries on the planet that have the highest qualities of life have gone in that direction. We can go in that direction too. Healthcare can become a right. We can get a living wage for people. We have to fight for it. We can end the wars. We have to fight for it. Let's get involved and let's do it now.